A year again closes, a year begins anew. New dads plot their year with a wish or two. What will parenting have in store? What wild adventures begin? What gizmos or gadgets or games will we win? If this year's like last, there'll be plenty to share. But be assured, dear listener, New Dad Gaming will be there.
The adult beverages are poured. The kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming. It's a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives.
What a time to start off the year with a Trevor lyric poem.
I look forward to it, man. What I do wonder is like if I do it long enough, eventually will it just kind of coalesce and it's the same like 4 or 5 rhymes that I keep repeating every single year.
Oh no, it's still good. Yeah, I think we should start every show like that. Just
yeah. Oh, one poem. Geez, that would be kind of a fun challenge. Have to describe like what terrible thing happened.
The year that is coming.
As I rolled up on my car with 1, 2, 3, 4 tire, I noticed that my child had started a fire.
It just comes so naturally. It's perfect.
On this episode.
Yeah.
God, that'd be pretty fun. Jeez. Well, we'll play around with that. Welcome everybody to the show. This is the gaming year that will be from the podcast New Dad Gaming. My name is Trevor, and I have a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 14-year-old and an 11-year-old.
On this show, we try to illustrate that just because you became a dad
does not mean it's game over.
Or that you can memorize a tagline you've said a couple thousand times.
Just work it into, like, again, a poem or something, and you're good.
All my eloquent words were used up in that poetry, so now it's like going to be just slop for the rest of it.
It happens. That's, again, New Dad Gaming fuel. It runs out sometimes.
Gaming dads, welcome to 2025. We made it. We survived another year. What is the tenor in your household? Do the kids notice it? Do you and your wife kind of take it as a chance to reset? Or are you just surviving because it's the holidays? Like, what is, as New Year's come in, what's the tenor of your place?
I think a lot of it is a little bit of surviving, right? So for the parents, it's definitely surviving. We survived that year. Yeah. But also looking forward to, it is kind of a fresh start. I know it sounds, again, a little bit silly. It's just a numerical value on a calendar, but it feels like you can change things that didn't work from the years past. A little bit of that reflection can happen, at least from the parenting side. Kids are oblivious. The kids just say it's break. I don't have to go to school.
Yeah. They're still playing with their Christmas goodies. It's just like it's sleeping, it's games, it's no school.
Yeah, again, you have to remind them, like, you should go have a bath, like, you should shower. Like, they're just totally out to lunch.
Yeah, I'm with you. I tend to like it. I understand it's just a number. It's just it's an opportunity to reflect, think about what happened on the previous year, and then with new energy, try to approach how you might kind of shape your life. So I love the new year, honestly. Like, I love to try to put together a couple resolutions. Like, my wife and I sit down and try to come up with like what could we do better this year, and I enjoy it. Like, I appreciate that some people find it a bit rote or basic, but I always have a certain excitement when a new year rolls around. It feels like a new fresh start, an opportunity.
It's good. And again, on this show, we just set our own resolutions, and we look back and be like, hey, we met none of those.
It's like, oh, I got to do this, that. Oh no. Oh my, what was I thinking?
That was my refreshed face and energy that won't have that at the end of the year.
It's like, why do I age 4 years every year? I don't understand.
That's right. Yeah.
No, I mean, so we can start off the hopper. And I'd like you to cue this up because we had a suggestion from a friend of the show, and I think it's a mantle we might take up this year. Although I think we're gonna have a counter on the ticker for every live episode we do, because if we can survive this, it'll be amazing. Why don't you cue it up? Like, what was the suggestion that we're considering?
Yeah, so again, a listener to the show, Torey, messaged us saying, hey, what do you think about making a resolution in the new year? And this was a couple months back, so put some time into it. a resolution to just only play your backlog. No new games. You don't buy new games. You just play what you have. And if, birthdays or Christmases come around and you get a game, whatever, that's fine. Add it to the list. But really go after your backlog of all these games that you buy. You maybe play a couple of hours and you set aside and go on to the next, or life gets in the way or whatever, and it kind of just sits there, right? And then the new one comes out and you're like, oh, maybe I collect that one, and then it sets down, whatever. So just playing your backlog for the new year, stick into that. See how long that lasts. I mean, they said they're all for it. I said, we'll consider it.
So they as in your kids said they're for it?
No, Torey said that they're
okay. So I was like, there's no way your kids are like, yay, no new games.
If I'm being honest, again, they only play Minecraft and Roblox, so they might actually stick to it. It might be me that's the problem. Hey, kids, try this new game. Right?
Yeah,
so, what do you feel?
I think it's fantastic. I have so many games I would like to dip back into. Like I had made some progress on Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yes.
The Dad Simulator, Ragnarok, God of War, Dad of War.
Right.
I still have Elden Ring. That I dipped into recently, and I was reminded, it's like, wow, this is really good. Like you could just spend a lot of time in this game. This would be fun.
Yeah.
Not to mention, like we did technically sneak in Path of Exile, both of us.
Yes, we did.
I did. In that game alone, the skill tree would take a dad a full year to fill up.
Yeah, that's true.
So I will say the only thing so I'm down for this. I would be excited to try it, especially even on mobile, because I tend to pick up a couple small mobile games from time to time.
Yeah.
But if it's nothing, just play what you have. And when we started the show, like the one thing that I was concerned about, there's two concerns I had, and I think both are non-issues. First being with VR, I've had kind of a resurgence in VR. I think VR is going to be very big for me this year. I got a new headset and just absolutely loving it. So I was concerned that like, maybe I don't have enough games for that. But thinking back, it's like I have all 3 of the Vader trilogy. So I have this like Darth Vader like game. There's like 3 parts of it.
Yeah.
4 or 5 other games. Like I have some on Steam that I'm not playing. Horizon of the Dying Sun. What's that space game we got into?
Oh yeah,
You had introduced it.
House of the Dying Sun.
House of the Dying Sun. So I have all this experiences I could absolutely do, right?
Yeah.
So that I think that's a non-issue. I have enough VR games I could play that. The one thing that slightly bothers me is I don't mind the non-consumerism part of it. I do like to support smaller studios. So if there's a smaller game where it's $20 and it's an indie studio, like I'd like to support them, but at the same time, it's like I could forego a year and catch them like next year and kind of catch up on it. So that's not giving Ubisoft another $60. Fine. like John's tiny game studio, and he's trying to just like make it like that one. I'd like to try to help, but I'm still, even with that being true, I'm happy to commit to this because I think it sounds fantastic.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think there are maybe some tweaks that we can make to it. Because I do have, so my backlog again, I could play, and it would make it very easy. I have hundreds of hours of gameplay, I think, sitting there, because there's some pretty heavy RPGs that just look at me saying, you want a great story, you're gonna have to put in some time, and I keep like putting them off, right? So I could entertain myself with my backlog. The only thing that, if anyone listened to the show previous, where we kind of look back on some highlights, was the games that came out that I could play with my kids that were new and were new experiences. So if it was something for the family and not like under the guise for the family, and I want to play it, like legitimate play with the kids, I would look at that.
Man, one of my challenges would be, it's kind of a cheat in a sense, because I have Game Pass. My kids play game on Game Pass. So technically, it's almost like I would need to be really honest. I'd want to keep Game Pass because there's a number of games my kids play using that. I would not want to necessarily cut that off.
Right.
Although, like real talk, I mean, the games they're most playing right now is like wrestling, Roblox, and Ghostbuster, like the online game. But I purchased that one previously.
Yeah.
I could probably turn that off, and I think they'd be fine. They just wouldn't get anything new. Because if we're being really honest, because at that point, like they could just I'm curious. I'd be keeping the subscription only for them, but they're using only 1/10 of it. So I wonder if instead, if I got rid of it and just allowed them to play what they currently have, if they would also survive. That's too strong, but clearly they would survive. But I mean,
Yeah. No, I get you though. Yeah, I mean, it's something to consider. I never really thought of the services where you're kind of just pushed new games, and you're like,
didn't
well,
play
why
them.
wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I play this? But also, like, this is fine and good to do maybe in January, where the release game schedule is kind of still up in the air. But we might have Switch 2 coming. Am I going to look at that? I always say no, but then it grabs me and pulls me back in.
And then we get on a couple podcasts and we convince each other to go.
Right. This is probably the worst part, is that we egg each other on and be like, really, you do need this. Why not? Treat yourself.
I'm trying to think of any games I'd want you to get for it. It almost feels like cheating, but it's like games I'd want you to get for VR so that we can be playing together.
Oh,
in the new
yeah.
year.
Yeah.
So I would say, like, it's like I almost want you to buy, I think it's like VR 11 or Table Tennis 11. It's this table tennis game, and you think it's like I didn't play tennis. It is so fun. It is unbelievable how great it is.
See,
It's
starting.
It's also just a great. No. I'm trying to load you up so you have a better chance of success for the year.
Gotcha.
And you just got the VR headset, so I'm going to grant you some grace to load it up. Tell you what, that's the hardest part for you. You are, for anybody who missed the previous show, Jeff is Christmas Day dad gaming hero. He bought his kids a Quest 3 for them.
Yeah.
And the thought that, like, as of today, you're not going to buy any more games for your new VR headset. I think you get like a month of grace on VR titles.
I'm happy with that.
I'm just being realistic here, because it's just sort of like, hey, here's the headset. By the way, I'm not buying games this year. So,
Right. Yeah.
So everything has to be free on this VR headset.
Yeah. That's a little, constraining. So yeah, if there's some grace with a new console, perhaps, or a new VR headset, then
we'd have to see about the Switch too. I don't have at present. I think you and I are in a line, but stand to be corrected. I don't have a lot of draw to purchase a new Switch immediately. I'd almost prefer like the second round when it's a bit cheaper.
Is it cheaper?
I suppose not with the Switch, huh?
They just pump out a new model, which you could get over the original, but I don't think it ever has gone down. Even just the Switch now is still.
Yeah, I think I could hold off on it. Anyways, I am down for this. I think it's fantastic. There's so many games I'd like to knock off.
Yeah.
From my handset, I will say, like, I am hoping we can stream more this year. I think Path of Exile was a great get.
Yeah,
we'd have to find some other. So here's one. Here's an interesting like nuance. If it's a free game, does that count? Because, for instance, like Marvel Rivals,
right.
That feels like cheating. You know what I mean? Like, that feel like it's like, okay, I didn't buy this game, but I'm not playing my backlog, and that's what to me feels like the determining factors. Like, the focus for gaming dads, these two gaming dads this year, is play your backlog.
Yeah.
Play the old games, right?
Yeah. I mean, is it a cheat code? No one's gonna know.
Just like, man, if we keep finding these like loopholes, we're not going to last a month.
No, we're not gonna. Again, we should have a counter and be like, all right, you lasted a day and a half.
I would say, yeah. So, like I said, I think I would give a lot of grace to you and your VR journey, because you just got that headset. So I'd say even like to the end of February. Like, I'm not going to hold that against you.
But, well, okay. With the same grace, I will say Game Pass is a service, and that's just something that is your backlog.
Yeah, maybe, man.
Right?
But like I do not want to, because Indiana Jones, for instance, just launched on the game service. That's a brand spanking new game. That's me not playing my backlog. Okay. The only question, what I have to determine is how much my kids are playing games that are based on Game Pass.
Right.
And based on that, determine whether I'll keep it. But I would only keep it for them. Like, if I'm going to do this, I would say no. I'm not allowed to like play new games based on Game Pass, because the idea is like I think backlog is the key word. This is the year of backlog, to try to get through it.
Okay. All right. I think, again, we'll see where we get. we'll make that the goal, and then for the resolution for the year after, we try to meet that. Like, oh, you lasted 7 days.
7 days. After this show, one of us goes and buys a game.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
Immediately.
couldn't
Right?
make
You
it
gotta get
exist.
sorry.
Now, so more grander as far as the year. When you think about your household, your kids, gaming, the gaming landscape. So we established that we're going to try to stick to backlog this year, which I think will be a fantastic experiment. But besides that, like, what do you desire, foresee for you and your household, your kids, and gaming for the coming year? Like, what is some things you'd want to happen, or you kind of foresee happening? Like, what's kind of your take on it as you look out upon 2025?
Yeah, so well, one part in my mind is the addition of VR, right? Is going to change, I think, the gaming landscape here. Whether or not it remains one headset is up in the air because this is a gamble. One headset between, two kids and a gaming dad that wants to play it might be a little bit much. So we'll see where that goes. But I do also want to introduce like the kids into like, again, more strategy games that I used to love as a kid, and I would play with my brother, and I wish my like dad and mom would play, but they weren't really gamers. But something like that where there's more strategy involved. They are very much into building, so much like the Minecraft and Roblox and all that stuff, but exposing them a little bit more to different genres that they're not narrative driven, because I don't think they're narrative kids in gaming. Like, they just don't like the stories. Which is fair. Something's not hitting right. That's fine. But strategy games was like, specifically real-time strategy games, was a big part of my life. Age of Empires, StarCraft, all that stuff. So I might even be looking at like retro titles, because I own all those things and we can play them all together. Set up like, a gaming session, and even just like in addition to that, my teenager is going over to their friend's house, bringing their laptops, having like LAN parties. They're not really LAN parties, but they're gathering parties.
For all intents and purposes, you say LAN party, we all know what's up.
Exactly. Hosting maybe some of that here, because that's something we're not really set up for right now. We need to clear space and make that a thing. That's something that maybe I could look into, or like really devote some time to, carve out a little gaming area, and just make it a little bit of a cozy spot. So
nice. I think that's fantastic. So I think so I'd mentioned on the previous show, for anyone who listened, I think my kids got into Roblox this year in a big way, and unfortunately it acted a bit to repel me from playing with them. Just where like the game that we really restricted their gaming time, so there's none during the week. They only get on weekend mornings, and for that precious time, they really wanted to dive into Roblox.
Okay.
And it's just, and it is especially like chintzy gotcha type stuff that just like I completely bounced off of.
Yeah.
So there was not many mornings it was not us playing like a game together. And what I'd like to do is reverse that a bit in the new year. I don't care they like Roblox, that's fine. Like, we're not buying them Robux. Like, we've been pretty good about setting boundaries as to what this game is for them.
Yeah.
But so I'm not going to try to say, I'm not going to try to ban it from the house so that we can play more, but I would like to find some titles that we could all play together and make sure that I put a more concerted effort into playing with them, because I do see, I'm always encouraged when we talk, because your activities together with gaming with your kids has continued, and you have the older ones and me, so I still have a runway.
Yeah.
But it's obvious to me that there's no, like, it is a slice in time. At some point my kids will not want to play with me anymore. So I really want to, in this coming year, insert myself into that picture so we can like get some more gaming memories going while the getting's good. If that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think we have changed that landscape just quite a bit already, right? Taking that as a win, because I think we've created a lot of gaming memories already. But like, again, just just looking at that, kind of cultivating it and expanding it, I think is a great resolution kind of for the new year. And again, looking at, as my kids get older, like you mentioned, they are it's already starting where they're like playing their own thing and they're doing their own stuff, and they're in with their own friends on Discord, and everything is a big thing. Leave old gaming dad out in the cold, whatever.
Can I play? Nah, Dad, you wouldn't get it.
Yeah, right. So I do want to, like, again, get back to a little bit more family time with some of the stuff. And if anybody's listening to the previous show, just over the holidays, of just setting aside some time over the holidays to game together, as sort of a tradition to go forward. Maybe it's just like one game in the morning after
Yeah.
Christmas or Boxing Day, and just have that a thing. Because I do want to like get those traditions in now, and kind of hopefully that carries, because we're looking down the pipe of college. So like,
Yeah.
that's not too far away from me. So I need something there that kind of hooks him back in before he runs away.
There it is. Now the looking at yourself. So that's like the family situation. So looking at yourself and kind of like, with a bit of reflection upon the last year, what do you, besides like us throwing down the gauntlet, like no new
Yeah.
games, see if we can last. Countdown begins soon.
Yeah.
What would you want for yourself this year in gaming? So as a gaming dad, like with, the tales old as time, this entire podcast
Yeah.
about how does somebody who grew up with games, enjoys games as their hobby, navigate the world when they now have kids and those kind of responsibilities when we grow. So, looking at this next year, given how last year went, like what would you kind of want for yourself with gaming? Would there be any changes from your habits this year?
Yeah, I definitely think I bought way too many games for my ability.
It's like, why do I have these? I don't have this kind of time.
Right? I treated them kind of like ice cream. Like, oh, I wanted a taste of that flavor. Oh, I wanted a taste of that flavor. And then I would set them aside. So I am going to take age-old Trevor advice of just
Hey,
play the damn game,
nice.
focus on one thing, and not have, I kind of have like that analysis paralysis. Like, there's so many staring at me, like, oh, I could dip into this and like make progress over here, blah, blah, blah. Just kind of commit to one and really sink my teeth into it. I think would help me, is just, again, experiencing the game for what it's meant to be, because I find myself rushing through, or like looking up a guide to like rush quickly through this battle, because I want to get to the next thing and end the game and go on to the next. So I think the backlog resolution, along with just focusing in, might help me, because my gaming habits were like, I want this and I want that, and I'm gonna get this DLC and I'm gonna do all this, and I never ended up completing all of it, right? Like maybe a couple here and there. So really focusing in, I think, is gonna be my little goal for.
I'll push back a little bit. So I will say that you are the owner of the game. You don't have to finish it, because I think there's a lot of
bad or something like.
Yeah, or just like it's like it's going to deviate into huge grindy stuff. And you're like, you know what? That was great. I had a great time. I had fun. Like I remember, I bought the previous year Pal World. We mentioned that last one. I had a great time with it. I have zero interest to ever touch it again. It just got super grindy as far as like, okay, now you need 7 bags of sand, but before you get that, you have to grind these stones. But before you can grind the stones, it's like, okay, that's just like wash my hands of it. That's great. Thank you so much. That was a great experience. Glad I spent the money. This was fun. But that's enough. I don't want to play this again. And that's a good exit, so sure. It's you want to be. I like the turning or reducing of the consumerism that we both have, where it's like, okay, we got to get all these games and we can have them. Like that part's great, but like I have zero interest in completing a game that I'm not having fun with anymore.
Yeah, I'll again clarify. These are games that I do want to experience. It's just like I find them pulling each other, right? So when they exist all at the same time, I'm like, well, I don't want to. It's like that. It's not fear of missing out, but it's like, oh no, I want to get over here to this. Again, they're all very narrative-driven games, so I'm very not spoilers, but like if it's an old game, I know I'm putting myself out there for spoilers, but I really just like to dive into like a good book, right? And just see it through. And if it is not working, then call it, uninstall it, call it and uninstall it, and just hide it away from my, right?
What a great line. We got to make a t-shirt. Call it, uninstall it.
I mean, maybe those are words to live by, because I don't like it staring at me either. So it's just call it, uninstall it, and hide it away. So
we'll
see.
Yeah, I'm much on the same line. I think paralysis analysis is a fantastic call. Like I like that you brought up that term, because I do think about it's just so easy to turn off. And I found again what I got into, and I've mentioned this before, just like I'm finding myself like on my phone more than I need to be.
Right.
And I'm somebody who I even like, I like being on my phone. Like I'm not going to try to like hide it. Like I enjoy being on Reddit. I'll be on X a little bit. I'll go on to Blue Sky a little bit. Like, but literally as a present enjoyment. There's like, oh, it's okay. I'm just gonna like unwind a bit and just like turn my brain off and scroll.
Yeah.
Right. So that's because this classically here's people just completely down on it and like I hate it, and people hate themselves for participating in that habit. I'm saying like I don't even mind that I do it sometimes, because as far as all the activities, especially when you're at the end of the day and you have nothing left to give,
Yeah,
it's a great little just like mind vacation. However, I do notice that there's like it's too much. Like I could definitely reduce it, because I, like many other people, would say, "Oh, I'm so busy and I don't have time," and da 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 da. And then you get to the end of the week and it's like, "Hey, you spent like 4 hours through the week on Reddit."
yeah,
You're like, that's too much. Like I could reduce that. Like I could be playing a game,
yeah.
and again, it's not like, well, I'm gonna get a dumb phone because I never want to touch it again. No, I like that stuff, but I also like gaming, and I know I'm gonna be more fulfilled if I play the gaming. So it's just being really mindful of my activity, and then just pushing myself that little bit. Like, no, like spend some time on your hobby, and be that like you said, reading a book. I've gotten into playing guitar like over this Christmas break recently again. Like that's been fun. Board games, play a game with my kids, but also just play my games. Nothing
Right.
new, because we're not buying games anymore this year. but spend, like as you said, like take my own advice, play the damn game.
Yeah, no, I like that. Again, using just the time that you would have and reflect around that amount of time that you could have been spent doing the stuff, gaming that you love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's something to again take into perspective, and going forward this year, we'll hold each other accountable, I think,
Clearly,
or at least we'll be the ones to break each other down.
just like, there's gonna be a title, and everybody's gonna be like buck wild about it. And there's already one that like it looks like a perfect game to stream, because I don't stream, since I'm not streaming, since I don't play and I can't stream Marvel Snap anymore, and that I had the most like success with.
Yeah.
It's almost like I need something to fill the void. There's this one where it's like you're on like a pirate ship or something. It's like, I think it's called Bazaar. It's not releasing yet, like you can't purchase it, but I'm already looking at it. It's like, damn, that looks up my alley, and it'd be great to stream because it's a hot nonsense. It's great.
Yeah.
But hey, we'll hold strong.
Yeah.
We don't need to get it. Need nothing new. It's gonna be nothing but backlog.
Right.
Cannot wait. It's shaping up to be a great. Like I said, I tend to get excited this time of year. I get the feeling you do as well, and it's so we kind of wrap up the show, but we have this like excitement for the new year, right?
Yeah, for sure. I'm again excited just to have that new start point, have that new checkpoint. It's like a checkpoint, right? And we're going to continue on with like whole new gaming perspective.
Yeah. Now we'll have to check the logs, but I believe this year we will cross 10 years of podcasting.
That is crazy.
As best
What do
I
we
understand,
have
like jeez, I don't know. We're giving away Switch 2s. Let's do it.
Yeah. Are you buying a game? Yeah.
But because as best I recall, we started when my oldest was 3 months old. So as his age goes, so goes our podcast, and in May he'll be 10. So
I mean,
hot damn.
Yeah, no, it's been, I don't know about you, but it's been fantastic. Just journaling our experiences as gaming dads and gaming with our kids and watching them grow up. And a lot of the front end stuff was dealing with, babies, toddlers, and getting through that kind of mindset. And now we're into like, I don't want to say the golden age, but we're really into, playing the games that we want to play with our kids. So it's been awesome to like experience that with you and our audience and our listeners who keep growing. So it's been a good time. 10 years. Like, that's something. We need t-shirts. We need merch.
We gotta get some hats. We gotta get some like, hoodies or something for sure. But yeah, for the gaming dads have been with us. Thank you so much for all of it. Like, it's been such a blast to get to know some of the fellow gaming dads out there. Jeff and I are really excited for this upcoming year. Have brand new software suite that's been enabling. Like, we dipped our toe in with some streaming together for the first time. It was awful for Jeff, but we'll see if he has the fortitude to continue to game with a lesser like myself. But I think we're going to expand into that way, figure out how we can continue to grow the community, and just as always, it's a massive thank you to everybody that's listened to us, and really excited to be with you all for this upcoming year.
Absolutely.
Hey, everyone, that'll do it for this episode. I hope you had a fantastic holiday and Christmas and New Year celebrations were off the chain for you. Hopefully you got a good set of games to set you up for 2025, and we're going to be there with you every step of the way. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you like the podcast, you can find us on all the major podcasting networks. So look for Caster, Google Play, Spotify, iTunes, anywhere we can find us. Look for New Dad Gaming. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can any New Year's gaming resolutions you yourself have, any goals for the household and gaming, would love to hear from it. Reach out to us at New Dad Gaming or newdadgaming.com. As I said, talking to dad's one of the greatest parts of this show. And until next week, my name is Trevor, and I have a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 14-year-old and 11-year-old. And Happy New Year, everybody.
Well said. Just remember, just because you became a dad
does not mean it's game over.
All right. Happy 2025.
See you later.